If you've ever looked at water filter pictures and thought, I really don't want to refill this thing 3 times a day, a faucet-mounted filter might actually be the better option. You basically attach it directly from your kitchen faucet, turn on the water, and get filtered water straight from the tap. Sounds pretty perfect, right? Well, there are a few things that you should know before you buy one. Welcome to Updweller, where we help you make smarter decisions for your home. I'm Maggie, and today we're going to look at the best faucet mount water filters. So let's start with the biggest reason people choose a faucet filter over a pitcher: convenience. With a pitcher, you fill it up, wait for the water to filter, put it in the fridge, remember to refill it, important, and then eventually realize it's empty again. With a faucet mount, the filter is basically just there. Need a glass of water? Turn on the faucet. Filling your water bottle before work? Turn on the faucet. Making coffee? You get the idea. And if you're somebody who drinks a lot of water throughout the day, that convenience can actually make a pretty big difference. Now, there are a few different faucet-mounted filters worth considering. Brita is probably the name most people recognize. Brita's faucet systems are popular because they're relatively straightforward, widely available, and designed to improve the taste and quality of tap water without requiring a permanent plumbing installation. And then you have PUR. The PUR Plus faucet mount filter is specifically designed for people who want filtered water directly from the tap, and it's particularly practical for renters, families, and households that use filtered water throughout the day. So let's actually talk about what these are like to use, because this is one of those products where the installation process matters way more than it sounds like it should. The appeal of a faucet mount is that you're not permanently installing a filtration system underneath your sink. You're attaching a small filter directly to the faucet. For most compatible faucets, the setup is designed to be pretty straightforward. But, and this is important, not every faucet is compatible. If you have a pull-down faucet, a pull-out faucet, a handheld sprayer, or some unusual faucet configuration, you need to check compatibility before you order. And if you're renting, that's actually one of the biggest reasons I would consider a faucet mount. You're not making a major modification to your kitchen, you're just adding a removable filtration system to the faucet. That makes a lot more sense for a rental than spending money on an under-sink system you're going to have to leave behind when you move anyways. Now, let's talk about the thing you notice immediately after installing one: water flow, because here is the trade-off. A faucet filter can change how quickly water comes out of the filtered setting. You're running water through a filtration system, so depending on the model and condition of the filter, the filtered stream may be slower than a regular faucet. And honestly, that's something I would absolutely demonstrate in a video instead of just telling you. Turn the faucet on normally, then switch over to filtered water. You can actually see the difference. For me, this isn't necessarily a deal breaker. If you're filling a glass or water bottle, waiting a few extra seconds isn't exactly a crisis. But if you're trying to fill a giant pot for pasta, you're gonna be sitting there for a minute. And that's where I would say a faucet filter is best for drinking water, coffee, cooking smaller quantities, and everyday use, not necessarily for every single thing you do with your kitchen faucet. Now let's talk about taste. This is probably the most immediately noticeable benefit of any water filter. A lot of people aren't necessarily concerned that their tap water is unsafe, they just don't like how it tastes. Maybe it's chlorine, maybe there's a slight metallic flavor, maybe the water just tastes stale compared to bottled water. PUR specifically says its filters help reduce chlorine taste and odor, which can make tap water taste cleaner and fresher. That's actually an important distinction. A water filter isn't necessarily about removing absolutely everything from your water. PUR's messaging focuses on reducing the contaminants people care about while still maintaining minerals that can contribute to good taste. So you're not necessarily trying to turn your water into completely mineral-free water. You're trying to make your everyday tap water cleaner tasting and more enjoyable to drink. And PUR has a pretty strong filtration story behind that. According to the brand's messaging, PUR products are certified to reduce lead, PFAS, microplastics, and VOCs, among other contaminants. PUR also positions its filtration as stronger than Brita's on a number of contaminant categories. Now, I wouldn't choose a filter solely because a brand has a long list of things it can reduce. You should look at specific filter model and certifications for the contaminants you actually care about, but it's something worth considering if you're comparing two products that look almost identical on your countertop. Because taste isn't the only thing you're buying filtration for. Now let's talk about replacement filters. This is probably the least exciting part about buying a water filter, but it's one of the most important parts. Your faucet mount is not a one-time purchase. Eventually, you're gonna have to replace the filter. And that's actually one reason I would lean toward a major brand rather than some random filter you found online. You want replacement cartridges to be easy to find. PUR specifically sells replacement filters for its faucet system, so you're not buying a device and then hoping you can find compatible filters 6 months later. And here's the thing, pay attention to how much water your household actually uses. If you're one person who drinks a couple bottles of water a day, you may not go through filters very quickly. If you have 4 people in your house filling water bottles, making coffee, cooking, and drinking filtered water constantly, you're going to go through them much faster. So when comparing prices, don't just compare the initial cost of the faucet system, look at the replacement filter cost and how frequently you'll need to replace it. That's your real long-term cost. Now let's talk about renters. This is honestly one of my favorite use cases for a faucet-mounted filter. If you're renting an apartment and don't want to install an under-sink filtration system, a faucet mount gives you a really great middle ground. You get filtered water without committing to a permanent setup. And when you move, you can take it with you. Just make sure your faucet is compatible and check your lease if you're unsure whether any modifications are allowed. Now, would I choose a faucet mount over a pitcher for everyone? No. If you're living alone and have plenty of refrigerator space, a pitcher may be perfectly fine. If you're in a dorm, a compact pitcher may actually make more sense because you're probably not allowed to attach anything to your faucet anyways. And if you don't drink much filtered water, you may not care about having an always-on filtration system. But for a family, a couple, roommates, or anyone who fills reusable water bottles constantly, the convenience starts to make a lot more sense. So if I were narrowing down the options, I would think about it this way. If you want a familiar, straightforward option and mostly care about better tasting tap water, Brita's faucet-mounted options are worth considering. If you want a faucet-mounted system with a stronger filtration story and want to reduce contaminants, the PUR Plus faucet mount filter is one of the strongest options to compare. And if you don't want to deal with faucet compatibility at all, just get a pitcher. Honestly, there's no shame in that. The best water filter isn't necessarily the one with the most features, it's the one that actually fits into your routine. If you're constantly refilling a pitcher and getting annoyed, get a faucet mount. If you hate the idea of slowing down your faucet, stick with a pitcher. If you're renting, a removable faucet system can be a really convenient middle ground. And if your tap water already tastes great and you're perfectly happy drinking it, you may not need a filter at all. The whole point is to make getting better tasting, cleaner water easier, not to add another annoying appliance to your kitchen. Our goal at Updweller is simple, to help you make your house feel more like home. If that sounds like your kind of content, subscribe and leave a comment below.